Hi there, Josh here. Welcome to Frames Per Second. So today we're here as part of Photo 2024, which is an international photography festival. And so this is actually the last day of the festival. I wasn't able to attend other events, unfortunately, but we're here today because it is the Photobook weekend. And so there will be artists with their photo books. So we're going to go in, have a look at those. Unfortunately, I won't be able to buy any, but we'll see if we can do some interviews. So let's go.
I'm Carlo Oggioni, or in a collective called Photobook Catch-Up, and I'm here with my book called Behind This Line. Over 8 years of work documenting commuting in Melbourne, all on trains, trams and buses in Melbourne. At school during photojournalism classes, that when you work on a medium or long-term project, the key is always to stick to the same focal length if you can, and because I was shooting film, try to stick to the same field stock. I was helped probably from the situation that back then film was still relatively affordable. Yes, the whole project was shot with a 35mm lens and Kodak TMX 400. The work in this book, it's almost a mirror of what I would have felt during those days when I was commuting. We call it a robotic exercise. It's something that, I always use the analogy of going into a lift. You can be in company of one person or 20, but for some strange reason, when we're in the lift, we ignore each other and we isolate from the rest of the world. And I feel like public transport, in a way, does have that effect on people. I'm originally from Italy, Milan, and I moved to Melbourne in 2007. So I studied photography back in the days in Italy. Studied it all in film. There was no digital cameras then, so it was all film, black and white. And when I moved to Melbourne, I decided to go back to study, and that was 2010. And I did the whole study again, all on film, and that was what also kind of prompted me to start the series. I've learned photography through film. It's what I feel comfortable with. The aesthetics that film gives me is exactly what I'm looking for. In fact, with digital, I also shoot digital but only black and white. So I have a monochrome camera. But the thing that I enjoy the most with film is actually being in control of the developing, the scanning. That's still that surprise factor that you shoot, you don't know what you're gonna get until you go home. And so yeah, definitely, still continuing.
My name's Lisa Murray. I'm a photographic artist, and my series that is now in book form is called Through My Child's Eyes. I'm a breast cancer survivor, and the book is based on that I was diagnosed with cancer at the same time as having a baby, so it's sort of when that near-death and new life collided. Well, the design of it kind of evolved. It's a medically inspired experience. I wanted to translate what it was like going through that into book form. And so the journey begins, the book comes sealed in a medically inspired jacket. Yeah. And then you scan into this code to get a text message.
Oh no,
which tells you that when you receive a cancer diagnosis, you can't see what's in front of you anymore. And I wanted this to represent that. Yep. And it's not until you make that first cut that you realise who you are and what you're made of. So you've got to cut to get into it. When I was designing the book, I really thought it would be cathartic for me to physically tear a copy of it when I got it in print form. So instead of tearing my own copy, I've incorporated that into the design. So I've got these perforated pages where it's got hidden artwork beneath the perforated pages, so I'm sort of asking the reader to painfully tear their book, which is particularly hard for some people. I've had some people not buy it because they don't want to destroy it, and then I've had others buy 2 copies because they want to keep one immaculate. then they want to destroy the other one. So, but it comes out. It's deconstructed, yes, but it's not destroyed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how, you know, the breast cancer feels.
Yeah.
It's you know, when you go through something like that, you feel a bit deconstructed, but you're not dead.
Yeah.
In here is this gatefold that sort of is the essence of what the story was about. So this photo was taken by my 5-year-old, and these are the images of his that I re-shot in analog. And I wanted them in analog because I wanted it to be past and present, because I'm responding to what happened 5 years later. So for me, that's my memory, which was that it was turmoil. It's sort of a call and response. So I've recreated my 5-year-old's photographs in analog, and then I've responded to them 5 years later in digital. And I wanted that past and present, analog, digital, sickness in health. I wanted that to be, you know, the differences. So, and then I took all of those negatives and I destroyed them in the chapter headings. So with the egghead chapter, I put it into eggshells, and then I scratched it up with the eggshells. And this is Last Day with Hair in hair dye. And then this is the chapter called Bottle Fed, which I've put into baby formula. I had to work really hard not to correct the angle that he'd taken that on, and I really wanted to like edit this bit out, but I wanted it to be from that 5-year-old's perspective. And same with preparing for that, you know, looking down at my son, I wanted that perspective of the 5-year-old, which I think has come through. And then these are all the images of his, which I've recreated. It's how it was in my head, so I'm happy. I made it how I wanted to make it, and I'm only doing 50 copies, and I'm barely break even if I sell them all, because my motivation is to have all those experiences and shelf histories, which my mother used to always say to me. This is all part of life's rich tapes.
This is Uneven Press. We are just ring-ins today, representing Vasily, the founder, who couldn't make it.
I'm Mark Davidson. I'm a street photographer from Melbourne, and this is my zine Sunday. I made it with a really good friend of mine, Renata Philippi, so it's a collaboration. Renata and I used to meet up every Sunday in Melbourne, just on from the street station. We'd go and shoot together. We just love street photography. We'd always meet up and have a chat, go get something to eat, go get something to drink, and then shoot. This is just I guess the fruits of our labour for a couple of years. We started shooting in about 2021 and put this together just last week. But yeah, this is almost a bit of a joyous occasion coming out of the pandemic and getting back on the streets again. I love shooting into the sun with flash, just sort of a dynamic element to the photos, and just adding that fill. And I found that no one really notices when you're using flash on the street during the day, so it's kind of good too. 90% of the photos of the CBD, there's a couple in Bangkok when Renata went over there and shot there. I live in Kensington, not too far from the city, and pretty much my little route is Flinders Street Station, Princes Bridge, the Arts Centre, and just all around there. Yeah, I shoot a lot of film now. I've bought a Leica M6 last year, and I always gravitate towards that when I go out shooting, so I just love film, but this is pretty much all digital. I just used to shoot on the Ricoh GR3 or a Fuji Expo 3, so I mean, look, we just want this to be a moment in time in Melbourne really much, so I mean, hopefully people get an emotional response to the photos. It's a lot of people, a lot of, up close and personal shots, so I know a lot of people don't like shooting that way, but that's the sort of photos I like to create.
Which one's your favorite? Yeah. Yeah. Both sides of the coin, yeah.
They are two sides of the same coin. I think it's one. Yeah, no, they are distinctly.
Yeah.
I also love Darren's the best.
Yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah. Oh, and this one. This is awesome.
Yeah. It's nice when photo books have a sense of humor.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
These are all these like disused, bespoke mannequins.
Yeah.
I do like the name as well, When Nature Forgets.
Yeah.
I think that these are stills from her grandpa's funeral.
Yeah.
She might have been maybe a baby at the time, so there's a question of, do you remember things from that long ago?
Yeah.
But she's supposedly printed from the stills, is what I think happened. But yeah, like how often do you document an entire funeral?
So we're here with...
Wynne-Hoelscher. I'm the photographer of the book.
Rojas, Nuñez, and I'm also representing Oyari, my ancestral African name.
The book is titled Nuñez to represent my beautiful subject, who we were exploring the cultural roots and peeling back the layers of who she is and her identity.
It also came from a body of work I was working on for a number of years about exploring identity through a diaspora, a relationship through Africa, and how my Afro-Chilean roots were neither represented yet nor told, the narrative wasn't told yet. So my ancestor, maternal ancestors, walked from Kenya to Peru, which is now Chile. And I felt that I needed to somehow dive deeper into that narrative. We didn't even know it would be a book. And here we are, a year and a half, and so later, as a tangible source of information, I think.
Definitely an exploration of heritage of one individual, but also it speaks to what a portrait can hold, and portraits are collaborative, they're environmental, they're influenced by so much more than just what we see. So as a photographer of the work, it was really important for me to really put a spotlight on perception and human connection and how our history informs who we are and how we see the world and how we see others. And I see myself through her portraits. It's not just one person in focus. It's a community, it's a human existence, and it's a representation of our connection as well. I really resonate with analog. My father was an analog shooter. For me, there's a lot of story and nostalgia in the tactility of film and the flaws. I really like to hero flaws. I don't shy away from imperfections. It brings my focus back to what's real, and for this project in particular, it's all about the realness. It's not about filtering anything or projecting anything or shaping anything. It's just about presenting something that already exists. In the end, it came down to a minimalist approach so that the story flowed. The sequence was the most important thing so that we could really insert viewers into that room with us that evening, moving from one room to the next within that hotel suite and moving through a moment to another moment that's really similar but also grandly different in its feeling. Moving into crops was really important for me as well. I work a lot with cropping of work and collaging, and I just like to sort of zero in on details. And finding moments where you can play and insert meaning by just splitting an image just ever so slightly.
And there was no one better to do that with than my beautiful collaborator here.
Not bad, how are you? Yeah, just thought I'd pop in.
It's Mark Forbes, and the name of my book is Collective Memories. So in terms of what I'm looking for, I guess it is the whole premise is to try and create the feeling of humanity within a space without actually explicitly needing human to be there. So it's, I guess, playing on the idea of anthropomorphism and just generally personality in a given scene. I'm shooting the whole book on film, and for me, the colours that are on film itself is just the whole beauty of partly why I choose to shoot film. And in terms of what the colours in the scene are, I guess it's, I'm really quite critical and conscious of how colour impacts you as a viewer. So the impact of a specific colour, whether it's complementary or if it's contrasting or it's clashing, I guess. Yeah, so I'm really conscious of that in a given image or scene. So the book was shot on a Rolleiflex and a Mamiya 7. They were the two cameras. It's all Portrait 400 with the exception of one shot which was on Provia. Mostly Australia, but then there's also a bit of Europe, a little bit of America and UK in there as well. You can always find the same sort of liminal spaces wherever you are, or the same sort of personality in a given scene, yeah, wherever you are. So it's, I hope there's cohesion in terms of what I'm producing. I want people to feel that humanity in the scene. I want people to connect their own experience with it and also to potentially create their own memories from my images. Like, people have told me often that they feel a sense of deja vu in my photos, even though they know they haven't been to a specific place.
This one actually depicts a very touching narrative. It's about the photographer and his adopted mother. Received quite some controversy.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your thoughts on the artist. I would have put the links up. So go check them out and let me know what you think of their work and tell them how nice their work is too. So we've met a lot of cool people that gave us their time. And I know for photographers, it is hard for us to be in front of the camera a lot. So just these people being willing to talk about their work was amazing. And I appreciate all of you that let me talk to you. But anyway, I'm Josh. This has been Frames Per Second. Just get out there, shoot some film, maybe make a photo book.